My Thoughts, My Opinion Sports Podcast.
Yo, what it is? Welcome back to another episode of MTMO Sports Podcast. One of the dopest sports podcasts that's out here in the YouTube world, you feel me? And this is my 142nd thought, yo. Told y'all, I am getting up here with these episodes, you feel me? And this is going to be another dope episode, man. This episode is going to be strictly talking about all NFL, because the NFL had just been buzzing with nothing but dope news, you feel me? We're going to be talking about Tyreek Hill and his situation. Something going on in Miami, man, because this is the second star in Miami that wants out. We're going to be talking about the coaches firing, man. Like, it's 6 coaches that got fired this NFL season, and some of these guys didn't even get a chance, the opportunity to really put their imprint onto the organization. So I'm going to get my opinion about that. Another one, though, the NFL playoffs starts tomorrow, yo. We got some dope games coming up, and going to get my opinion and my prediction on what it's going to be like in the playoffs, you feel me? So before I go any further, if you're not already, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, as I am trying to go reach my mini goal of getting to 1,000 subscribers already. So please go out here, like, share, and most definitely subscribe to this channel, and make sure you spread the word around, yo. Make sure you go out here and tell a friend who can be a friend, who can possibly be your friend, that MTMO Sports Podcast is the sports podcast that you need on your rotation, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. You most definitely need to be listening to MTMO Sports Podcast. Not going to give you repetitive stuff that you're hearing over and over on major websites or streaming platforms. Give you strictly my opinions off of my thoughts, you feel me? So make sure y'all go out here, like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. As like I said, I'm trying to reach to my mini goal. And if you don't already know, yo, previous to my last episode, I told y'all that I am now the regional coordinator of Walk a Mile in Our Shoes Inc. here in Baltimore. So if you're not already following the movement, yo, please go out here and support and follow Walk a Mile in Our Shoes, yo. We have our Instagram page, as you will see it on the ticker on the bottom of the screen right there. Make sure y'all go out here and follow this dope nonprofit organization. We have 3 upcoming events on the same day, pretty much around the same time. We are collecting donations for the less fortunate, so we can have a nice clothes drive for them. So for all my Baltimoreans that's here, or anybody that's in Maryland, you would like to donate, please hit me up in my Instagram DMs, let me know that you want to donate. Clothes, shoes, hats, anything that's still suitable for the less fortunate that you don't need anymore. You can reach out to me. We can set up a time and location, and most definitely I can grab those stuff from you. And the date of the event is February the 8th, 2025. I will my flyer is all posted up on my social media pages, and is on Walk a Mile in Our Shoes Instagram and social media platforms also. So please make sure y'all follow that movement. Now let's get to the sports talk, you feel me? So as I included, yo, we're gonna start the show off talking about what's going on in Miami. Why all the superstars in Miami want to leave all of a sudden now? Because last week it was Jimmy Butler. Now this week it is Tyreek Hill, saying that he made his last statements as the Dolphins had lost their last final game to the New York Jets, which was fucking surprising in my eyes. It's not funny, but it is real surprising that they really they lost to the Jets. And you can just see the frustration all on Tyreek Hill's face as the reporters was interviewing him, and he pretty much came out and said that he is opening the door. He wants to be out. It was great playing here, But at the end of the day, he got to do what's best for his career. I'm too much of a competitor to be there, and that's like telling us like he's waving a white flag. Miami, he's done with y'all. He wants out. It's time for him to find somewhere else, and you can see that the frustration. I can see why he was frustrated because Tyreek Hill had a down year this year. He only had 81 catches, 959 yards, and 6 touchdowns. And he pretty much played the whole season. And this is like a big drop off from previous year when we was all anticipating that Tyreek Hill can really get 2,000 passing yards. I mean, receiving yards. And it was like, wow, like that can be real dope. That can be very interesting if he does that. But then he got hurt, got a little injury, he had to sit out, and he didn't get that, but he still posted big numbers during that year. And I don't feel like that. It's not Tyreek Hill that's really the frustration of his game, because as we can clearly see, Tyreek Hill is still gonna be an explosive. It's just you got to put Tyreek Hill in a better situation. And I don't think Miami was the better situation when he left Kansas City. And I alluded to this when he first left. And I said that it's not a good idea for Tyreek Hill to leave Kansas City, especially if there was no drama, there was no friction with nobody or anything in that nature. Why would you leave? The grass ain't always greener. And I understand like he felt like that it was his time for him to see that if he can lead a team and be a top dog of his own team. And I totally get that at that time in his career, this part of his career. Yeah, I get it. You won a Super Bowl. You feel like that the offense is not really giving you the number one status that you wanted to leave. But once he went to Miami, I was like, I don't know about that good move. I don't think going to Kansas City to Miami was the best move, and that he was going to put Miami in a contention situation. Only for the simple fact because number one, Miami was going through the coaching problems at the Brian Flores and the tanking situation, and they was trying to revamp their organization. They didn't really have a solid number one quarterback. They was, in the draft, they was get ready to draft Tua, and Tua had question marks already coming into that year, and you still have Fitzpatrick, who was really not, Fitzpatrick was just pretty much a gunslinger. I mean, if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. That's just who he was. So it was really like a really good situation that he was really walking into. It felt like that he was going to change Miami atmosphere just in a couple of years. So now, you fast forward the frustration of you don't have a consistent number one quarterback. Tua is always in and out the lineup because, like I alluded to, he said, he was coming into the draft, out of the draft, getting drafted still from college to with the hip injuries and stuff like that. So that's another reason that was raising concerns. Then he was in and out taking all these concussions and stuff like that. Now he's not available to see the full potential of Miami Dolphins, because everybody thought when Miami was throwing up 70 points on the Denver Broncos just a year ago, they're like, oh, that's a contending team right there. That's a Super Bowl or bust. Like, no, you putting that high expectations was way too high for the Miami Dolphins, in my opinion. Then you get Mike McDaniels that comes in, that's not really proven himself to actually be a head coach that can really take this team deep into the playoffs, or or make it to a championship run. Like, yes, he was a good offensive coordinator. Yes, he was able to show his thinking ability on the offensive end, but he was still a young coach in the NFL world. So that's inconsistent right there. Then Miami Dolphins ain't really bringing no hitters, no big splashes down there. You lose your defensive tackle and Christian Watkins to the Las Vegas Raiders. And then now you sitting here just thinking like, where you gonna get pressure at? Then you got players that's still recovering from ACL injuries and injuries from the previous years. You know what I mean? It's just like Miami could never get right. So I could just see the frustration of Tyreek Hill and wanting him to be out of Miami. But now when you sit here and really think about it, who really wants to take on Tyreek Hill? And it's not that Tyreek Hill personality that people don't want to take on, because Tyreek Hill is not a bad person. It's the contract extension that he just signed this past offseason. He signed a 3-year extension that's worth up to $90 million, which means he's now on contract for the Dolphins up to the 2026 year. So he just can't just up and leave. So now what teams are willing to say, like, man, you know what, man, let's go out here and get him, and it will make sense. Because like I say, he ain't just going to go to no just regular team or no team that's not just competing. He's not going to just go to the Chicago Bears, because we already seen that the Chicago Bears got some more problems that they need to go ahead and figure out. So understand the young quarterback aspect, and they still got, Keenan Allen, and they drafted a young wide receiver out the draft. They still got DJ Moore. It's not going to really fit another number one wide receiver to fit in there. So, that, and then he wouldn't want to go to a team that's already, like I said, they have a dysfunction and playing in the cold weather. Tyreek Hill need to go ahead and find a team that's competing maybe in the warm weather a little bit more. I'm not saying that he can't compete in the cold weather, but we've seen that when he's with the Miami Dolphins during the September, October, mid-November, the Dolphins are hot. The Dolphins are almost unbeatable if they are healthy, and if the temperature is still over 70 degrees in majority of a lot of these cities and teams. But then once it gets a little cold, Tyreek Hill gets this game gets a little cold, a little bit. And it's not mainly his fault. It's still not his fault, because number one, Tua is not even available, and Tua numbers dropped in the cold also. I just think that team doesn't really have a spark. I don't think that team is hungry. I just think that team just full of guys that's just there really. I'm not saying that the Miami Dolphins ain't like the guys is not competing for, for the ultimate goal of Super Bowl, but I don't think the majority of the team is competing for a Super Bowl. I think a lot of the guys are just there just for, their own individual reasons. Whether it's just to get paid, whether it's just to say I made it to the NFL, just to say I'm on the team. I just don't think that the Miami Dolphins is a team that's together. And I think that's one of the reasons why Tyreek Hill wants to be out. He wants to feel like everybody's not here for just individual reasons. He wants to go to a team that's really trying to compete, and every team is marching on the same beat, same tune, and understand what they really want. I think that's the most important thing that Tyreek Hill wants. And in my eyes, I don't really see a lot of teams going to really wants to take on at least the teams that's really sitting at the competitive top level, really. It's some teams that may be sitting at the mid-level that maybe is still trying to just get over that hump, maybe go out here and compete and trade for a Tyreek Hill and take on that contract. But that's going to be the part right there, is the contract part. Is which team really want to take on this up to damn near $90 million. And, and be able to still bring in some good key pieces, whether it's the draft, free agency, and still compete at a high level to really just get over the hump. And I do got like one team that can really kind of cross my mind just a little bit that maybe it will be kind of a good fit. And they are a playoff team, and they kind of need some wide receiver help there a little bit anyway. Now they just found a diamond in the rough in the in the draft, but I really think that maybe the Los Angeles Chargers should maybe just think about this trade a little bit. Now I didn't see like a lot of people say, well, maybe the Ravens, maybe the Texans, maybe it was another team. Dang, I forgot the other team. And as much I would say, like, yeah, man, you know, as a true Raven fan, bring on Tyreek Hill. I don't think that would be a good fit for us right now. Not the team that who we are and what we are built right now. Because I really feel like that will we got good wide receiver core, and I don't really see where he can fit in at and still be a number one. Because one of my reasons is Zay Flowers is emerging to be our number one. Number two, I still believe in Rashad Bateman. I think that Bateman and Flowers really play off together. So we already know that wide receiver room is pretty much those two, and I think that the Ravens will extend Rashad Bateman contract. He's played up to a level that he should get another contract with us. So I just don't think Tyreek Hill will settle for being a third wide receiver in that room. Then you still got Mark Andrews, still got Isaiah Likely, who's most definitely going to be coming up for a contract extension soon. So I just don't really just see that where he can really fit, you know what I mean, for the Ravens, for us. So I really just think that the Chargers, they like I said, they drafted a wide receiver. That guy is really emerging to be, you know, everybody's eyes is going to be on him next season. And especially you see what he does in his first playoff run. And I feel like the Chargers can really need another guy that can take the top off, and Tyreek Hill will fit, especially if that Tyreek Hill can take the top off and can help their young wide receiver, and they can still be that running team as Greg Roman is not like to be. You know what I mean? Still got J.K. Dobbins. Then whenever Gus Edwards come back, you still got your running guys. So I just really feel like the Chargers will be a good fit. It's a warm state. So you ain't got to worry about really playing a lot of cold weather other than you got to play the Broncos twice a year. You got to play Kansas City twice a year. So that would be pretty much, you know what I mean, your cold states. And then wherever the AFC West finally can go ahead and you know, play, you know, the different teams, but it won't be a lot of cold cities a lot. So then, you know what I mean, you can really play Kansas City twice a year. You can really help the Chargers team beat the team that you know once was on. Or, you know, maybe if Kansas City won't dip in there and feel like they say, you know what, we'll take Tyreek Hill back, you know, it would be a different story. He's already got a contract extension, so whatever this contract runs out, you know what I mean, you can go ahead and do whatever you want to do. Never know. You know what I mean? But I really just think that the Chargers should go ahead and dip in on that one. So I just think that I don't know what the Miami Dolphins is going to do. What's their plans? I understand they saying that Tyreek Hill is not up for sale, you know, not up for trade, anything in that nature. But a disgruntled wide receiver, you know what I mean, you know, starting to do holdouts and stuff like that. You never know. But I just think that the Dolphins most definitely need a lot of upgrades to their team, bring some guys that really wants to play and not just for individual accolades. And maybe Tyreek Hill will change his mind. So that's my piece on that on Tyreek Hill. Most definitely great. Switch it over to the next segment, and it's still in the NFL frame. And that's just the coaches getting fired this year, man. There was some coaches that I really just couldn't believe that, you know, they got fired. Like Robert Saleh, man. I didn't see him getting fired, and as we can see that the Jets didn't really change anything. They still didn't make the playoffs. The Jets were still ass. They chose the wrong guy over who. And you see what happened to him. Gerard Mayo got fired. You got Antonio Pierce got fired. You got Doug Peterson got fired. Dennis Allen from the Saints got fired. Matt Eberflus most definitely should have been fired last year, but Chicago made the right move and went on ahead and fired him. So we got 6 head coaching vacancies that's going to be up for grabs this year. And we already start to see like a lot of these organizations starting to reach out to some of these offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators to try to become their next head coach. And you got to sit here and think like, maybe is it a setup? Do you really take these jobs? Do you really take these? Do you want to take these jobs? Is these jobs really suitable? Do you feel like you can just get over that 1 year hump? Because a lot of these coaches only got 1 year lumps. But one of these coaches that didn't get the 1 year lump that I feel like I thought that he was changing some things down in there, and that was Doug Peterson for the Jacksonville Jaguars, man. Things was changing when he got his imprint down there. I felt like that getting rid of Doug Peterson was a wild move for me because I really just thought that he was going to change some things down in Jacksonville. But honestly, I can just see why that Jacksonville went on here and just gave up on Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson really his numbers wasn't all that great. I'm trying to find it, y'all. Give me 1 second. But his numbers wasn't all that great. And you can just see that clearly that the Jaguars were just like, yo, we thought you was going to do this. We thought you was going to develop Trevor Lawrence, and we thought, things was going to change. But it didn't. And my opinion, I don't think it's fully Doug Peterson's fault. I just really just think that, number one, everybody can quote me on this, I really just don't think that Trevor Lawrence is the guy. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is the franchise quarterback that can change things for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think that the Jaguars is still going to have to go in the hunt for another quarterback. I just don't. Everybody just putting all these expectations on Trevor Lawrence. Like, Trevor Lawrence is ass, yo. Like, ass. I don't care what nobody say, man. A lot of people thought that he was going to be the next Tom Brady. He was going to just uprise the Jacksonville Jaguars. No. So that's where I felt like that Doug Peterson should have had brought in another quarterback. Bringing in Mac Jones, no. Mac Jones wasn't the idea. Great backup idea, but to bring in Trevor Lawrence needs to be challenged. This Jaguars team need challengers. They need competitors. They need somebody that's really going to try to just take over the team. And that's why I felt like that that's where Doug Peterson failed at. And you can see that Doug Peterson, they had missed the playoffs. They lost in the divisional round. And then after that, that was it. They went 4-13 last year. And that was almost kind of similar to what happened to the Philadelphia Eagles. They just went to the division after the Super Bowl run. They went to the divisional round and went to the wild card. Then it was 4-11-1. Then he was fired. So I can see why, like, Jacksonville, but that one really caught me surprised. I really just felt like that you didn't really give Doug Peterson the full product of what was going on down in Jacksonville. But at the same time, I just really just feel like that that was really a surprise. Now, another team that got rid of their head coach that I really just knew that he wasn't going to last that long was Antonio Pierce for the Las Vegas Raiders. Antonio Pierce, I just knew he wasn't going to last that long because the Raiders was already in dumpster fires in my eyes. The Raiders was was already trash, and the Raiders never brought nobody in to really to make the Raiders competitors. You bring in Gardner Minshew and the free agency to say that that's going to be your starting quarterback. That for me right there let me knew that the Raiders was already waving the white flag and say that we are going into the draft following year to get our quarterback. That's what they did in my eyes. Gardner Minshew, that's why Devontae Adams wanted out. Devontae Adams didn't come there to have his quarterback to be Gardner Minshew. Number one, he was added to thinking that Derek Carr was going to be his quarterback. Number two, you didn't bring in another quarterback that was really worthy for him to stay. You brought in Jimmy G thinking things was going to change, and Jimmy G probably not even in the damn league anymore. So where was Antonio Pierce was really going to do anything? You know, I mean, as an interim coach, he was 5-4. So, you know, it was like a little bit of hope. It looked like he can have the guys that can play for him. But then you digress a little bit. You go 4-13 in your full year. And I think that what the Raiders are thinking is they're going to bring in another fresh voice for the Raiders as far as GM and offensive for the head coaching spot. And they're going to bring in a fresh young quarterback. Whether they're going to trade up in the draft to try to get their quarterback, or whether they feel like they can just sit back and just wait and get their quarterback. I really just think that the Las Vegas Raiders are most definitely going to get their quarterback in the draft. And now with this coaching change, that the Raiders are the franchise with the most head coaches changes in the last 20 years. They are now going to number 12 in the last 20 years, yo. 12 head coaches. Whew, that's a lot. That's a lot. So Raiders fans, sit back. It's going to be some time for y'all to actually start seeing some winning down there. Especially if y'all ready going to another rebuild year. So that's all I got for the Raiders. Now, for the last head coach I want to talk about is Gerard Mayo for the New England Patriots. That coaching, that right there, that was a surprise right there, Doug, because I did not expect the New England Patriots really saying they only going to give him 1 year to put his imprint on, try to build up a rebuild team. 1 year? Now, I'm hearing through the grapevines, and I kind of was trying to look this information up, that it was in his contract that he was supposed to be the successor of Bill Belichick. Once he was retired, that Gerard Mayo was going to be the next guy up. And I was like, damn, for real? That was in his contract? Like, really? Doesn't matter of what the situation is, that, you know what I mean, he was never assistant. He was never like the assistant head coach. He was never the guy that if Bill Belichick wasn't there, that he was going to run the team. He was never put in that position. So I don't understand, like, what made y'all think that Gerard Mayo should have been the successor of Bill Belichick? You know what I mean? I understand that, y'all wanted to go through the interview process and thinking that hiring the minority, that it was going to kind of change things, like, for your organization. That kind of just don't make sense to me. So just to give Gerard Mayo 1 year is a big surprise. I really just thought that was going to be that guy. I don't know. I'm hearing that. I was also reading reports. Shout out to CBS Sports. They were saying that Gerard Mayo wasn't really given the opportunity to learn to be a head coach. He wasn't groomed to be, learn how to run a head coach. Because, running a team ain't just calling plays and stuff like that. You got to know the timeouts, the situations to be in, and how to manage this and to manage the clock. And it's just not just calling X's and O's to be a head coach. So if you wasn't groomed to be a head coach, like what you expect this guy? Well, how many wins did you really expect him to actually put up this on this first year? And then you gave him a rookie quarterback. Then you gave him, you know what I mean, even though they didn't start the year off with Drake May, you gave him, the New England Patriots was never set up to actually win any goddamn thing. And, you know what I mean, especially with their talent roster. The talent on that roster was just pretty much not all that great. You didn't have no good wide receivers. The tight ends that you found in the free agency wasn't all that what you cracked up to be. You switching offensive coordinators, you know what I mean, back and forth. You letting Bill Belichick be your GM and your head coach. So it was like you not bringing in that was one of the reasons why Tom Brady left. Like, yo, you not going to keep me taking these pay cuts and trying to win and try to put money back into the team, and you ain't bringing no goddamn body here. So, I just really feel like that the Patriots really set Gerard May up for failure. And that's the one of the reasons why that things did not go his way. And I just don't really see anything really going great for the Patriots right now. You're really going to have to boost up that roster. And it's not going to just take just regular old head coach. I think you're really going to have to bring in a head coach that's really going to be about winning, and it's going to be into a player's head coach. I'm hearing that Mike Vrabel is interviewing and pretty much is kind of the favorite if he wants to be in the betting types thing to actually for him to be the next head coach for the New England Patriots. But I just don't really see. I see that what Mike Vrabel, the resume Mike Vrabel can do, because he had Tennessee in the position to actually kind of be a deep playoff team. It was just that they didn't have a quarterback down there, number one, and players didn't really want to come down there because they felt like it was just a run-oriented team. Because number one, you couldn't, like I say, you didn't have a quarterback, and it was always run Derrick Henry. So I think the Patriots most definitely going to have to figure out once they figure out their head coach, can their head coach bring some talent there? That's going to be New England's big problem. It's bringing talent down there. So I really think Gerard Mayo got the short end of the stick. I'm pretty sure that he will be defensive coordinator somewhere, and hopefully somebody can really take him under his wing and actually groom him to actually be a next head coach coming up into these next opportunities that may present themselves. But I just really think that Gerard Mayo really did get the short end of the stick when it comes to the rest of all these head coaches that got fired. Doug Peterson, I really thought he was going to change things. Antonio Pierce, I just think that you kind of got the short end of the stick too, but at the same time, the Raiders was already waving a white flag. And far as the New England Patriots, Gerard Mayo most definitely got the short end of the stick. He was never groomed to be a head coach, or gave him the opportunity to actually try to be groomed to be a head coach. So, sucks for these guys. Hopefully these teams can go out here and find their next head coach and whoever that may be. But that's all. I'm going to end that segment and on that note. Now, let's go ahead and go to the next segment, and that is the NFL playoff show. The NFL playoffs are finally here, yo. It just felt like the season just started. I can still remember and still have that feeling when the first game of the season, when Isaiah Likely, Big Toe was stepping out of bounds against that Kansas City game. So it was just like, damn, yo, we already in playoffs mode already. And I think the playoffs really got some good stacked up games coming out of this wild card game, man. You got the Steelers and the Ravens. You got the Chargers and the Texans. You got the Broncos and the Bills. You got the Packers and the Eagles. You got the Commanders and the Bucks. You got the Vikings and the Rams on Monday night. And the first teams I want to talk about is the Chargers and the Texans. Interesting matchup, and I think that this is kind of an easy kind of matchup for one team. And I hate to say this, it's only because of injuries. Injuries has really depleted this team. I just think that this team is really just exhausted and pretty much done. And that's the Houston Texans. I think that they're going to get the first round exit. I love what CJ Stroud has done and what DeMeco Ryans has done down to that down for the Houston Texans and what they are building down in Houston Texans. But with all those injuries, with Stephon Diggs, with Tank Dell, Joe Mixon really hasn't really been Joe Mixon lately. CJ Stroud is in his sophomore slump. And, you know what I mean? And with all the emotions of him, you know, dealing with his best friend, like I said, Tank Dell is pretty much down. I just think that it really just a rough patch for the Houston Texans. And then the Los Angeles Chargers is coming in hot. They are ready. They are about they bringing in that not being bullied mentality, and they ain't feeling sorry for your injuries mentality. So the charge, I really feel like, and then Justin Herbert is really silently, quietly having a silent year this year. Like a quarterback that people need to just like, you know what I mean? He wasn't that turnover machine that he normally was previously. He didn't have to throw over 50 times every game to actually make it to the playoffs, and they didn't even make it to the playoffs last year. You know what I mean? They found the style that can really fit Justin Herbert a little bit. I just think that this is the only round that they can get past is the Houston Texans. I think that only because the Houston Texans are beat up. They don't have Stephon Diggs, I alluded to. And I really just think that Nico Collins is going to get blanketed by this Chargers defense. I just really just don't see the really good outcome for the Houston Texans. So I am picking the Los Angeles Chargers to win this game. I'm not going to say it's going to be a blowout, but I really don't see a lot of points from the Houston Texans. But I can just see that the Chargers ain't going to really have to put up 30 points to really beat the Houston Texans. So I really just think that the game is going to be 27 to 17. I think that the Los Angeles Chargers will win that game. I really feel like it might be a lower score for the Texans because I really just not seeing where the explosion coming from, but maybe their defense can you know what I mean, the Texans defense is not, you know what I mean, too bad. And they making cause a turnover or something, and maybe they can score points like that. But so I get them 17 points. 27-17 Chargers though. The next Saturday game I want to talk about is my Baltimore Ravens against these Pittsburgh Steelers, man. Pittsburgh. And this is the third time that we are playing them. And I just feel like that we split the season 1-1. And I really just feel like that the Ravens really showed who we are the last game, and the Steelers showed who they were the last game. And a lot of people are going to talk about, well, it was on them a lot of games back to back and all this other shit. And I'm looking like, I don't want to hear that. 4 teams had to go through that. So it wasn't just the Steelers that was also going through that. And I also showed you, and I also said that on those Christmas games and stuff like that, that it was showing that who was pretenders and who was contenders. And I'm still going to stick with the Steelers are pretenders. Russell Wilson, I understand that you get George Pickens back, but I feel like it's still not going to be enough to actually overcome what the Ravens defense had really switched into. Since switching to Darius Thomas, Darius Washington being back there, and Kyle Hamilton playing back in that safety spot, Marlon Humphrey really coming alive this year, Nate Wiggins really holding his position down, Brandon Stevens, you know what I mean, iffy from time to time, but you know what I mean, not really giving up big plays, and then we getting a lot of pressure from up front. I really just feel like that our defense is clicking on at the right time, and I think that that's going to trouble Russell Wilson and these Pittsburgh Steelers. And Russell Wilson just can't get the ball out of his hand. He wants to keep holding it, keep ducking, keep trying to create big plays, and that it's just not going to fit for him. And I just really just think that the Ravens already saying that long as we can keep Russ in the pocket and long as we can contain the wide receivers downfield. Now, don't get me wrong, the Steelers is going to move up and down the field. That's who the Steelers are. They got a great running back tandem. Najee Harris is 1,000-yard back. He's been 1,000-yard back since he got into the league. You know what I mean? The Steelers is going to be able to move the ball. But the Steelers just don't put up points. Field goals ain't going to work this time, like the first game how they beat us. I don't foresee it working this time. Now, understand, flipping on the flip side, on the Ravens offensive side, we don't have big play Zay. That's going to kind of hurt us a little bit, but you got King Henry. This is one of the reasons why that you didn't run him 30 times every game. This is one of the reasons why that you bring King Henry here. When you don't have the big play capabilities on the outside, you don't have to keep running Lamar over and over and over. You can turn the ball and hand it off to Derrick Henry. And occasionally, I understand that the Steelers might be keying on them, might slow Henry down in the beginning. But now that's going to open up plays when Lamar gets to the outside to figure out what Lamar wants to do for real. You know what I mean? You still got Mark Andrews, who led the tight ends and touchdowns this year. And then everybody was talking about what's happening to Mark Andrews. He's washed, so he's not in the offense. He's not effective. But he's led the tight ends and touchdowns this year. You still got Rashard Bateman, who I still believe is playing a great year, who's most definitely putting up, big touchdowns. Now, I understand that you probably going to have to put Joey Porter Jr. on him a lot. And Porter Jr. is kind of showing that he can be a top cornerback in this league. So it's most definitely going to be a little bit difficult. But like I said, this is the time, this is the place, and this is why we went out here and got Derrick Henry. So I really feel like that the Ravens will win this third game. And it's not going to be a big blowout because, like I said, we've seen each other. We play each other a lot. We already know the history of this. But this is another way that Lamar can get another monkey off his back by getting another win against the Pittsburgh Steelers, getting his monkey off the back by getting another win in the playoffs. So that's going to be a double whammy right there. And I think that Lamar is going to live up to the occasion and not going to overthink himself. That's where Lamar got to really stop, getting to the play. Don't overthink. You ain't got to really sit here and try to prove everybody wrong on certain stuff. Just make sure that you can most definitely win the game. And I think that that's where Lamar heads at. And I think that that's how Lamar is really going to play this game. He knows he has to beat the Steelers. He knows that he has to get out this first round. He can't let anything happen that the Steelers can give any type of hope. And I think that he most definitely going to kill that joy and hope. So my Ravens wins this game 24-13. I feel like the Steelers might still try to give out a run. You know what? 24-14. 24-14, Ravens win. I feel like the Steelers still going to put up a fight. That defense is still solid. So 24-14, but the Ravens move on. Now, when it comes to the Sunday game, you got the Bills and the Broncos, Packers and the Eagles, Commanders and the Bucks. Let's talk about the Bills and the Broncos. I think that this is going to be a very interesting game, but I also feel like that maturity is really going to show in this game. And I really feel like that the Bills and Josh Allen is more mature than the Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. Just for the, experience-wise. I feel like Josh Allen knows that he needs to most definitely can't let the Broncos win. Especially if they really considering giving him the MVP this year. You know what I mean? He can't lose to the Denver Broncos. And I really feel like that Josh Allen is going to really put up some numbers. Now, the thing about the Denver Broncos, like they have a shutdown corner that can potentially be in the running for a defensive player in the year, and Patrick Surtain. And I feel like whoever Patrick Surtain is going to be locked in on, he's taking away a threat. somehow, some way. So I feel like Josh Allen's going to have to do a little bit more. But I feel like Josh Allen knows and how to be smart with what's going on. So I really feel like that him mature is a little bit mature than Bo Nix, and I think that that's the key for the Bills to win the game. Bo Nix is going to be a little bit immature, and I think a lot of pressure is him trying to really beat Josh Allen in the playoffs. And if it so happens, then that'd be a big win on his resume. But I also just think that the Denver Broncos is going to have a troubling time just a little bit with the Bills. I really just don't foresee that the Bills really going to be giving up a lot of big plays for the Denver Broncos, and I really just see that Bo Nix might have some troubles and potentially have multiple turnovers in this game, and I think that that's where that can really hurt the Broncos is turnovers. They got to win the turnover battle to beat the Bills. If they can create turnovers and cause Josh Allen and the Bills offense to get some turnovers, I think that's the only way that the Broncos can really beat the Bills, if they can create turnovers. So I am picking the Bills to beat the Broncos in this wild card game, and I really just think that the Bills is going to put up 27 points, and I think that the Broncos is going to be only just put up 10 points. So 27-10, the Bills. Whew. Now, an interesting game is the Packers and the Eagles. Why this game is very interesting is because Jalen Hurts is back. Jordan Love is okay to play. So now these quarterbacks is going to go out here and duel. And honestly, in my opinion, this game is a flip of a coin. It all depends on which Jalen Hurts is going to show up and which Philadelphia Eagles team is going to show up. You rested Saquon Barkley the last game of the season. Jalen Hurts didn't play. He was on concussion protocol. Devontae Smith wasn't out there, and A.J. Brown was in and out. Wasn't there too much. So you kind of rested your guys. So you kind of going to have to blow some rust off the Eagles offense. And then the Packers offense the Packers defense is pretty solid. And then even though they got a lot they could try to contain, most definitely Saquon is going to be a handful to really stop on himself. But I think that the Packers can really slow down the Eagles offense just a little bit. I don't think they're going to be able to slow down Saquon. Saquon is going to do his thing. But far as the passing and getting to Jalen Hurts, I really just see that the Packers can get to Jalen Hurts multiple times, sack-wise. And I just think that the Packers defense is a solid. Now, on the offensive side, I really just think that the Packers, they're going to have to most definitely not turn over the ball a lot. And that's going to be Jordan Love's problem right there, because he's kind of got a little turnover problem a little bit. Jordan Love commits a lot of bad passes sometimes. I feel like he just throw off his back feet when he just think that he got it. They are down some wide receivers also. So I think that this is going to be a ground out game for the Packers. So they most definitely, another team is going to have to win another turnover. They're going to have to win a turnover battle themselves. Make sure they don't commit no turnovers. But I really feel like the Eagles are the most complete team, and the Eagles will beat the Packers on Sunday. So I'm going with the Eagles. I'm going to go with, I don't think no teams really is going to have to throw up 30 points to actually win. So I'm going to go with the Eagles 24-17. The Packers going to lose that turnover battle, and they're going I think that's going to really hinder them to actually try to tie the game up. So that's what I'm going to go with. 24-17. I feel like the Eagles got that. The Commanders and the Bucks. This is going to be an electrifying Sunday game. I'm trying to tell y'all, like, this is a game that I really feel like that it's going to be some big plays, and it's going to come down to who got the ball last and who makes the less mistakes. And I really feel like that this game kind of favoring one team in my eyes. I like the Buccaneers, but at the same time, I feel like the Commanders is hot right now. And I'm gonna go with the Commanders in this game. Hear me out why? Because number one, I really feel like Jaden Daniels is really up for the task. He's up for the moment. I really feel like that he can live up to the big time pressures. And I really feel like that he is less to make the least turnovers. Now things can change because understand you're going. It's the playoffs. It's just not regular season no more. But I really just feel like that things can really be different for him. But for the Buccaneers, I just really just feel like I really don't see where a lot of their scoring is going to come from. Who is going to come from? Now, don't get me wrong. The Buccaneers can score. They did throw up some touchdowns these last couple of games, but I just really feel like that. Now you're playing against a really good defense and the Washington Commanders. So I really just think that the Commanders can win this game, and it's going to come, like I said, it's going to come down to who got the last possession and who's going to make the less mistakes. I really just seeing that Baker Mayfield turns the ball over more than Jaden Daniels. I really just do see that. So I got the Commanders winning this game by a hair. 20-17. And I really feel like it's going to come down to a field goal. Whoever got the ball last. So I'm taking the Commanders. On that Monday night game, the Rams and the Vikings. I think that this is going to be an interesting game. I really just going to really see if the Vikings are really who they really are. They lost to Detroit Lions that last game of the season to become the number one seed. But I really feel like the Vikings have really shown us they are who they really been showing who they are this whole season. And I really just feel like the Rams doesn't have enough firepower against this Vikings defense that they are ready to play against. So I really just think that this edge is more edge over to the Vikings in my eyes. And I really just think that, in my opinion, I'm taking the Vikings this to win their playoff game against the Rams. I really feel like that Justin Jefferson and Addison and Aaron Jones and even their new head coach is really up to the task and really going to win this game. So I think that the Vikings will beat the Rams this game. Now, it won't be no easy game for the Rams. For the Vikings. The Rams are a good team, especially with their wide receiver core and Matthew Stafford. I really just also see that we can I really see that the Vikings can really just live up to that task. So I really just see that the Vikings winning this game. And I'm not going to say it's going to be a blowout. I'm going to say that it's going to be Vikings 24-17. I also, like I said, I don't think none of the games is really going to be a 30-point game unless one team just go on the slide. You feel me? So that's who I got winning on these playoffs to move on to the divisional round. I got the Ravens beating the Steelers. I got the Chargers beating the Texans. I got the Bills beating the Broncos. I got the Eagles beating the Packers. I got the Commanders beating the Bucks. I got the Vikings beating the Rams. So, you know what I mean? It's going to be a good playoffs. Make sure y'all go ahead and tune in to that. I'm most definitely wrapping this show up. That was the last segment of the show. My son has a basketball game, so we about to go head out and take him to his game. So make sure y'all go out here, like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate everybody that tuned in for the show. I appreciate everybody that already subscribed to the YouTube channel, as I'm trying to reach my mini goal to 1,000 subscribers. So please go out here. Tell a friend who can be a friend who wants to be your friend. That MTMO Sports Podcast is the podcast that you need in your YouTube and your sports rotation. So make sure y'all go out here, share the episode, let everybody know about it. Also, make sure y'all go out here and follow all my social media platforms that's on the bottom of the ticker. My Instagram and my Twitter. My Instagram and my TikTok is MTMO _ Sports Podcast. My Twitter and Facebook is my THTS, my opinion. So make sure y'all go out there and follow that. Make sure y'all go out here and follow Walk 'em Out in Our Shoes on all social media platforms, as it's spelled out also on the bottom of the ticker. And to, like I said in the beginning of the show, to all my Marylanders or Baltimoreans, that I am most definitely doing a clothes drive for the less fortunate. If you have any clothes that you would like to donate, please hit me up in my Instagram DMs. Let me know that you're trying to donate, and then we can set some time and arrangements up where I can collect your donations. We would greatly appreciate that. So, as always, I catch y'all in these streets, man. Make sure y'all go out here, spread the word about MTMO. You feel me? Oh, also, and if you're trying to get MTMO gear, make sure y'all go to my link tree. Go to MTMO Spread Shop, and then it will take you straight to my website where you can get your MTMO gear, whether it's hats, shirts, hoodies, backpacks, gym bags, whatever. Just go out here, help me out by supporting MTMO's Spread Shop. Like I said, I'm out of here, about to head to my son's game. Spread the word, rewatch the show. You know what I mean? I'm out.